Everybody, and welcome to Crack Kills Quick Hits for Week 12 and the return of the Rivalry. Let's take a look at the 5 things to watch for as we head into week number 12 and the stretch 1 of the 2016 regular season. Quick hit number 1, as mentioned, Rivalries. All the rivalries from week 1 return, and with it, the Cons, Cops, All Business, the Girlies, Larry's Guys, and Superfly all look for revenge after losing their week 1 games. Perhaps the team looking for the most revenge, though, is Future Cop, as they play in the game of the week. The Cops lost in a tiebreaker in week 1, and looked at that time to be very down and out, adding to their league-leading losing streak. But since then, they've reeled off 7 wins in 10 games and find themselves in the playoff picture. We'll see if the Cops can avenge their week 1 loss and keep it going as the playoffs loom. Quick hit number 2, fast starts. A few teams already have full bellies after a big Thanksgiving day, with Shittown, the Apes, and the Businesses, all and unfinished, jumping out to huge leads, All Business a 54-0 lead over the Jeans. Now, the Jeans and Cons are both losers of 3 straight and facing must-win games, but both trail big early. We'll see if these big leads evaporate, or if they are just stretched out and these teams are able to get wins. All Business has been very good at playing spoiler, and they'll look to do so down the stretch here. The Jeans will need a win, as will the Fugitives, to keep pace with the playoff chase. Quick hit number 3. It's 200. Touchdown! Tony Brown became the first player of the Crack Hills League to crack 200 points for the 2016 season. But David Johnson is not far behind with 194 points and still set to play this week. This has been a low-scoring season with not as many players putting up the numbers they once would. Brown being the number 1 overall pick is expected, but we've seen a lot of injuries and a lot of players bust out in games that they probably should not have put up low scores. We'll see if anybody else can top the 200-point barrier today, as certain players are in striking distance but will need big games. And we'll see if the big scores that we lacked early in the season will find themselves popping up down the stretch into the playoffs. Quick hit number 4, the power rankings. Not something the Crack Hills League often looks at, with the standings usually setting up everything. But the power rankings currently have unfinished business sitting at number 1. UB, though, is 6-5 and will need to win out down the stretch to put themselves back in the playoffs and hope for a high seed, and possibly return to the championship game for the first time since 2013. No Comment is second in the power rankings, and the highly trained Apes third, with Shittown, Tinfoil Kings, and unlikely Future Cop rounding out the top 6. The top 2 teams in the standings, the Apes and No Comment, are looking to get back to the playoffs and are in position to reestablish themselves as dominant teams, something we have not seen from either squad since the early days of the modern era of the league back in 06, 07, and 08. Finally, quick hit number 5, Bust of the Year. It's always hard picking out the Bust of the Year, and with all the season-ending injuries this year, or at least long-term injuries, many players were disqualified from putting up points before the season even started. But one player has overcome injuries and also suffered more injuries, leading to tears for his team. That player, Rob Gronkowski. Gronk helped the guys, or should we say hindered, to a terrible 0-6 start, and has been huge at times this season, but has also come up with injuries, sat out games, and been non-existent in games he started. Now, you could also look at Allen Robinson for the Cops, and the Cops team overall, who started the season with a number 1 ranked draft, but now in the new draft rankings have fallen to number 11. It's also interesting to note that the Cops' first 5 picks in round 1 through 5, are all considered busts. Now obviously Future Cop has gone out and made some moves in the trade market to bring in other players, but going from the top ranked draft to possibly the most busted draft is something to watch. We'll see if the guys can keep things going and possibly get back into the playoffs behind Gronkowski, and if the Cops can make a run and try to grab that pennant. The season isn't over though, as we could see other players become even bigger busts, or guys like Gronkowski redeem himself and get his team back to the promised land. Finally, the player to watch for Week 12 is LaShawn McCoy. McCoy was a trade guy earlier in the season for Future Cop and has come up big, but has also been injured, missing a game and now suffering a thumb injury and subsequent surgery. Even more interesting is that guys have Latavius Murray sitting on their bench. Murray has been very good the last 3 weeks. We'll see if McCoy can overcome the thumb injury, or if the cops underperform and end up wishing that they would have gone a different way. That's it for Crack Kills Quick Hits for Week 12 and the beginning of Rivalry Week Redo. Good luck to everybody this week, except Superfly.